I always thought real estate fraud meant someone breaking into a house, or maybe a scam listing online. I never imagined someone could try to steal my property without ever stepping foot on it. But that's exactly what happened to me. Someone forged a deed, transferred my rental property into their name, and the county recorded it like everything was completely normal. And here's the part that still keeps me up at night. The system didn't fail. It worked exactly the way it was designed to. I've owned this property for about 8 years. It's a small, single-family house and was perfect as my first home purchase. It's nothing fancy, but when my husband and I bought our next home, we decided to rent it out. I've had the same tenant for years. Steady, reliable, no issues. I don't live too far, but I check in regularly, and everything has always run smoothly. Until one afternoon, I got a call from my tenant, and the tone of his voice told me something wasn't right. He said, "Hey, why didn't you tell me you sold the house? Some guy came by today. He said they're the new owner and that I'm supposed to pay the rent to them now." "Absolutely not," I half shouted into the phone. "I would have definitely told you if I had plans to sell the property." It looked pretty legit. He showed me his paperwork. "I just texted you a photo of it." Trust me, it's a scam. But as I scrolled through the images my tenant sent, I felt my heartbeat thud in my chest, painfully. The pictures showed a deed with my name as the seller and somebody else, a name I did not recognize as the new owner. Oh my God. Thank you for letting me know. If that guy comes back, don't answer the door and don't send him any money. I'll get back in touch with you. First thing the next morning, I immediately went online to the county's Register of Deeds website. I searched my property, and there it was. A general warranty deed recorded 2 weeks earlier. Grantor, me. Grantee, Mr. David Tucker, someone I had never heard of. The signature looked like mine, but I never signed anything. I didn't sell the property. I didn't meet with a buyer. I didn't even sign closing documents. I didn't even know this person existed. David Tucker had forged my signature, transferred my property out of my name, and the county had officially recorded it. I drove straight to the Register of Deeds office, expecting them to tell me this was a mistake. When I got to the counter, I discovered something that completely changed how I see real estate. The Register of Deeds does not verify ownership. Their job is only to check that the document meets the recording requirements. If it looks complete, they record it. That's it. Apparently, a deed only has to contain certain elements to be accepted for recording: name of the grantor, name of the grantee, legal description of the property, words showing intent to transfer ownership, signature of the grantor, proper acknowledgments by a notary, and, of course, recording fees. If those items are present, the document gets recorded. They do not verify that the signature is real, that the notary actually witnessed it, that the grantor even knows about it. They assume the document is legitimate because the Register of Deeds is not a fraud investigation office. They are a recording office. But there's a notary seal. How does something like this happen? Why would a notary lie about seeing me sign something? The clerk, whose name badge identified her as Eileen, but should have read Eileen No Empathy, just looked at me, face deadpan. Honey, forged notary stamps happen, more often than it should, but it's not our job to figure it out. I stared back. Maybe it wasn't a lack of empathy, but it sure felt like she didn't care. I asked, "So what do I do?" She sighed the sigh of someone who'd worked a government job for far too long and seen far too much of the ugly side of people. "Fill out this form, notify the police, and find yourself a good real estate attorney." Next in line. I grabbed the form Eileen slid to me, grabbed my stuff, and shuffled out of the way of the next about-to-be disappointed, frustrated county citizen. I needed an attorney, apparently a good real estate attorney, but the only attorney I knew was my ex-roommate from college freshman year. We did not make good roommates and barely could call ourselves friends, but because desperate times call for desperate measures, I texted Sydney. I explained a bit of what was happening. She agreed to meet me for coffee. It wasn't the friendliest coffee date, but Sydney explained a bit of the legal stuff. She explained to me that Eileen, without empathy, was correct. Notary fraud wasn't uncommon. But that aside, a deed doesn't have to be notarized to be valid between parties. But it does have to be acknowledged by a notary to be recorded. So if someone forges your signature and a fake notary acknowledgement, the county will record the deed, which is exactly what happened in my case. On the surface, Sydney continued, everything looks legit because this David guy is listed as the legal owner. Seriously? I asked. Yeah, seriously. Sydney took another sip of her coffee and brushed imaginary crumbs off her shirt. Look, I don't do real estate law, but this is a classmate of mine, Darren Christopher. He does. Sydney handed me a business card and walked away, leaving me at the table with 2 almost empty cups of lukewarm coffee. Sitting there, I realized this wasn't just frustrating. I could actually lose control of my property if I didn't act quickly. I reached out to Darren Christopher and scheduled a meeting. I brought all of the documents I had from my closing. When I arrived to our meeting, Darren greeted me with a firm handshake. So you're Sydney's ex-roommate. His tone was neutral, but I thought I heard a bit of laughter in his voice. Yes, a long time ago. He sat at his desk and motioned me to sit. If you survived a year with Sid, I know you have patience and some thick skin. That's good. After reviewing the paperwork, he looked up at me. It's really good that you got an enhanced owner's policy along with the lender's title insurance policy. Whoever handled your closing made sure you were covered for situations exactly like this. Most people don't realize a standard title insurance policy often doesn't cover identity theft and deed fraud. So you can help me? Darren grinned. Of course. I'll even give you the Survived Sydney discount. Once we completed the official paperwork, Darren got right to work and filed a claim immediately. As I walked out the door, I could hear his confident voice ask his paralegal to start a complete chain of title on my address. Altogether, the legal process to fix everything took about 4 months. With legal representation at their heels, the title company opened a fraud investigation. Darren filed a quiet title lawsuit and recorded a lis pendens to block any potential sales David Tucker could initiate. Eventually, the court ruled that the deed was forged and void. A court order and corrective documents were recorded to restore the chain of title. Darren called to let me know that I was officially confirmed as the owner again. The best part is, the title insurance covered all legal costs. Without the enhanced owner's title insurance policy, I would have had to hire my own attorney, pay for the lawsuit, cover court costs, fight to prove the deed was fraudulent, and if the scammer had sold the property before I discovered it, an innocent buyer might have been involved, which could have turned this into a much longer and more expensive legal battle. Here's what still surprises people when I tell them this story. The system didn't fail. The Register of Deeds did exactly what they are designed to do. They check for specific form requirements. That's it. If a document looks complete and meets the legal requirements, it gets recorded. No one verifies that the transfer actually happened. That's why title insurance exists, and that's why I now monitor my properties regularly through the county's recording alert system, because apparently, someone can try to steal your house without ever stepping foot inside. This real estate story covered several topics you may encounter on the real estate exam. Importantly, remember that recording a deed does not guarantee the transfer of title is legitimate. Recording offices only verify that a document meets legal form requirements. They do not investigate fraud or confirm ownership. It is title insurance that protects buyers and owners from hidden defects in the public record, including forged documents, missing hears, and other title problems that may surface years later. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more.